but I just think Quan isn't a good character. Why? And I could give two shits about Madrigal. Come on, guys. What are we doing? Master Chief's ass. I didn't expect that. What the fuck is this? I'm really confused on what they're gonna do. Alright, welcome back to another episode of Halo PODST. I am your host, Jake. I'm joined by Sparks.
Reluctantly.
Yes. I'm going to be breaking down Season 2, Episode 7, Thermopylae. Thermopylae, however you want to say it.
Pretty sure it's Thermopylae.
It's like Monopoly, but Greek sounding. Because it is.
And more depressing.
Man, did we lay it on thick with the whole Spartan mythology in this episode, huh?
Oh, boy.
As if it wasn't clear enough that they're pulling from Greek mythology and like Norse mythology for the names throughout these games. We have to really lay it on thick.
Yeah, I've been less generous with peanut butter on sandwiches.
I am. Yeah, here's what's so frustrating. I think you would agree that I was much more interested and positive about this season than you.
Oh, you were naive. You were so
naive. How many shows
you're like, no,
have had
we
a bad or
people...
mediocre first season, and then the second season they find their footing and it takes off and it's a really good show.
Oh man, if we could go back and just like hear yourself before we even started recording. I was like, no, it's gonna be great. We got a new showrunner and they were involved with the games, and it's gonna be great. They understand the material.
I was wrong.
Whew.
I was very wrong.
And you didn't even waver in that wrong like Michael J. Fox.
I truly was going into this season with an open mind, wanting it to be good, not coming in to hate it. And I was very, very positive of those first 4 episodes.
I mean, I can't say definitively that I hate it.
And again, you can play it back. But good God, this show is beating me down. Like it continues to baffle me in its bad decisions.
Oh, you said bad decisions. Let's start with the one that I can't fathom. And why can't we build a narrative that like answer me this, like for the last 5-6 episodes, and granted we're in 7, we've had this annoying habit of pulling multiple plot threads in every episode. And I think ultimately this is just indicative of this decision to compress the show down into 8 episodes. So they have to really just try to tie everything together a lot more aggressively than something that might be 15 episodes long.
It's silly to me, dude, because Paramount after the first episode premiered, Paramount greenlit a second season. So clearly Paramount wants to put money into this. Why not add a few more episodes? I get that a lot of people like 6 to 8 episodes, but you and I have talked about this. Marvel doing 6 episodes was not good. Some shows can work on 8 episodes, but something like this should probably be 10 episodes.
Even then, it's only just working on 6. Again, we talk about how good The Last of Us was. If you'd have told me that we could have had 2 more episodes to really let things develop, I'd have fucking taken it in a heartbeat. Because Druckmann knew what he was doing, but still, 2 more episodes to really just kind of get a feel for the world and some of the plot beats that were missed in the games.
Because you could, for this season alone, you could take an extra episode to develop the Spartan 3s.
Oh, yeah. Or, heaven forbid, I find this really frustrating because we were meant we were supposed to care about Vanek, but I don't know fucking anything about him other than he likes birds. But, the emotional gut punch that's supposed to be his death was hollow.
And honestly, after this episode, I'm watching it and I'm like, why does it have to be Kai and Chief? It could have Vanek and Riz could have been with him. to me, them not being a part of it seems meaningless. To set up this whole Kai and Chief showdown, and then it's a fight that isn't even a fight, and then it ends, and then they're back to being friends. Like, what the fuck?
not even like friends, because she's still like frustrated with the lies, and he's frustrated that she made the wrong choice. They're like reluctant acquaintances. They've been downgraded. I mean, remember, Chief doesn't need friends; he needs Spartans. He said as much.
Yeah.
We'll
get to it, but it's just like I mean, overall, man, if this season would have had more solid episodes and it would have been 10 seasons, like, I wouldn't mind this being an episode 9 leading into what they're doing here.
Not even that, like, just less bullshit. Like, again, it's so obvious, but if you got out and cut out the Kessler and Liera angle, and
Good fucking Christ!
Like,
if you would have cut,
like, okay, I get it. We can abduct Soren. We want him back in the fold because, Lord knows that Jake loves his Bokeem Woodbine. But
it's true, Bokeem Woodbine, great actor.
But
he's actually really good in this too. He does the best he can with this.
We don't need the other two. I don't give a shit. I truly do not.
Holy fuck! I was like, are we kidding? This is the penultimate episode of the season. What are we doing wasting time with these meaningless characters? Like, what are we doing?
I give no fucks. It's lip service to this narrative that they built in season 1. And again, we see it here with fucking Quan Ha, who becomes a massive Deus Ex Machina. Why?
They could have so easily, we've said it so many times in this, like, they could have wiped the slate clean for themselves so easily. Why the fuck is Maki dead? We don't know, because they refuse to tell us.
I don't care. Why didn't she stay dead?
But that's what I mean. You killed her there. You said that they glassed Madrigal. You could have fucking killed Quan there. And there you have just reset everything, and you could have made a so much better story. But like you said, because it has to be bogged down with doubling down on the stupid shit that didn't work in the first season, and it just drags everything to a screeching, grinding halt.
Yeah, we didn't need Makee. We could have left her dead on that fucking planet, and you'd have never known the difference. The only point here is to, like, show some sort of, like, emotional attachment, but ultimately that just falls aside here, so I don't know what we're doing. I'm baffled, I'm confused, and I'm frustrated, but not so much as anybody who actually, like, thought this was going to be good. I'm more smug than anything else.
Well, it's just, for me...
But, like, here's my problem. Okay, so every episode, like I said, we've had 4 to 6 different angles of characters doing their bullshit in the background, and that's, again, indicative of this really compressed narrative. But there's got to be something better than this. I'm sorry, this is I can't even defend this show anymore. Like,
I've tried.
I'm getting so much whiplash from this momentum. Like, we're building, screeching halt. Okay.
And again, I hate to keep saying that, but, like, if you go back and listen to those first few episodes, we're very positive, we're very excited, and then it just completely falls off a cliff. Like,
oh, right.
Unbelievable.
Starting at 5, just boop.
And to look at the lore of Halo, and all the books, all the games, the fandom that it still has, and to think that you don't have enough material in there to build out an hour-long episode for 8 episodes is comical. It is comical.
It's not even that. Like, okay, your average show. Okay, your average broadcast TV show is a half hour, right? So in essence, this is a 16 episode season. In essence, compared to the normal run, and they still don't find enough time to to actually handle their shit. It's mind-blowing how bad this is, and a lot of it just stems from shit writing.
Yeah.
And
like, on one hand, I'm frustrated because, as again, I don't have as much of attachment to the campaigns of Halo, but it's still a franchise that I enjoyed, and it's a franchise I do care about. And then on the other hand, it's like I've been like wanting a bigger, epic sized like sci-fi show, and I get this steaming pile of shit.
Yeah.
I hate to be so mean about it, but it's just like I don't. Again, how many times do I have to keep saying this? Who is this for? Like I don't.
Even outside of the appeal of it being Halo, just from a normal, you know, functional level for a TV show, this is fucking terrible. It just, it's inexcusably badly written, directed, show run. I don't know who to point the finger at exactly, but there were bad decisions made. And
And then you know what? I'm coming at this is you might think I'm angry. It's not even anger. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed.
like, okay, here's a saving grace for season 2. It doesn't have a season 1 episode 7. That's cool.
Oh God.
You know, not,
Well,
like, I guess
let's
if
just
that's
get
a silver
into it.
lining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's just get into this episode.
Yep. Spoilers abound from this point on. You've been warned, although I don't know why you were listening.
Yeah.
So, oh boy. So we pick up where we left off with Chief and McKee on Halo in their minds in the artifact. I don't know what the fuck to, in a theory, in a spiritual sense, they're on the Halo.
Yeah.
And I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. It sure would be cool if we could just move past this quote unquote romance. I'm over it.
Again, you don't have like, yes, Halo could be looked at as a space opera, but just because it's like a space opera, you don't have to have this weird spiritual element to it. Like there was that kind of stuff in Halo, like with the Forerunners and shit like that, but like it wasn't like, is what I can remember, it wasn't this bad.
So they kind of reconnect for a minute, and then they start pointing fingers, blah blah blah. You killed the people on Reach, but then she rejoins like killing the Covenant is different. Okay, now look, I'm not exactly super well versed on wars in the terms of humanity, and I don't know the background here with the UNSC. I'd like to believe that they didn't just like go start fucking poking the Covenant to make them fight. Like, I'm pretty sure the Covenant were the aggressors. So I'm not really
well, isn't it? I mean, isn't it like just based on let's just look at this show's logic, which will be hard.
Mm-hmm.
But my understanding is they think they're entitled to it.
Sure.
Like they're entitled to the ring because of like the great journey and their religion and all that.
Yeah, and
it was my interpretation.
But I mean, our awareness of the ring only goes as far back as the artifact, unless you're talking Halsey, but that's a whole other thing. But beyond that, it's just the Covenant has been the aggressor. They're the one attacking the outposts
they're the one glassing all these planets.
Yeah, for reasons. And yeah, I'm sure they have their own spiritual, holy bullshit reasons, because they're supposed to be the inheritors, but actually it turns out in the lore that the humans are, so I don't know anymore. But McKee's hellbent on trying to stop either side from getting the Halo, because she thinks about, all the wonderful things that it can does, but she's also got that murderous look in her eyes, so okay. And then they both come out of their artifact coma just in time to evade their attackers, because convenience is convenience.
Yeah.
And she gets chased down by this thing, Haley Priest. Because remember, all of this happened while they were attacking and Arbiter was defending her.
Yes.
But Cortana manages to distract the priest long enough for McKee to fucking stab him with a plasma blade knife.
Sure. Cool.
And then on the other side of that, Chief leaves the artifact on his end, and holy fucking finally he goes looking for his armor.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
gonna say it. I'm pretty sure he's in his armor more in season 1 than he is in this fucking season.
He was in his armor a lot in that. And he, walking down the hallway, and he manages to run into an old familiar face, Lieutenant Briggs, the bitchy Marine leader from Novigrad. And she tries to she does this really, oh God, I even hate mentioning it, but this whole fucking cop fake out thing where she's like, hey, get on your knees. He's like, it's not your order. Oh, he resisted. Shoot him. Like, okay, didn't exactly do that.
A little bit of an escalation.
Just a lot really quickly. She tries to order the
Yeah.
Marines to shoot him, but they kind of pause, and then Chief manages to talk him out of it, and they tell her to fucking do it herself before they fuck off. So
I do like that he was just being like, I've been on the other side of the gun. He's like, you don't have it in you. Like, you ain't, if you're gonna do it, look me in the face.
I don't even feel like he had to do that because the guy already looked like he was hesitant about shooting the Master Chief. Like, he's got a hell of a cult of personality about him.
Yeah, especially the fact that they thought he was dead and he's being used as propaganda.
Sure. So then Kai ends up catching up to Chief, and she tries to like explain herself, talking about Chief's lies to the squad and his erratic behavior. And she's like, I had to make a call, and he fucking just stone colds. There's like, you made the wrong call. Well, all right. Well, this is the relationship they've got. So that's cool.
I honestly do like. We'll get to it later in the episode, but I do think the moment later in the episode is actually kind of nice. But
so they end up running into Ackerman, and Ackerman, well, he just learned about the repercussions of his little cyber spike, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But he resists the urge to kill Ackerman because Ackerman knows where his armor is, and I guess it's behind a biological lock. Convenient.
I like the boy he only can open it with his face, and he just goes, does it have to be on his head? I was like,
Right.
That's funny.
Well, so actually, I actually had a chuckle here because he goes, give me one reason I shouldn't kill this guy. And Kai's like, honestly, nothing comes to mind. I'm like, see, this is, even as obvious as it is, it's kind of clever because they say it completely deadpanned.
Again, well, you like it, so they won't even bother doing it anymore. They'll show it a few times in the episode, and that's about. Like, I just cannot understand this show. It's baffling because, like, yeah, I like that too, and I was like, sure, wish there was more of it.
Sure,
throughout
none
the
of
whole
that.
fucking season would have been nice.
Nope. But so long story short, everybody's mad at Ackerman because nobody will believe him if he tries to reveal the deception. And then Chief's like, well, the fact that I'm alive would indicate that Parangoski has been lying to everyone. And, well, my existence is a threat to Oni's power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, if you're alive, then she must have lied about your death. So, fair play.
Yep.
So then Ackerman takes him to the armor and then leaves. And then Kai decides that she's going to go fight with the Spartans because I guess she's like a mother hen to them.
Yeah.
Really, really protective of her squad.
That she just met like 2 days ago because the timeline's all messed up.
Yeah, again, just rewatch these last 2 episodes and go, what the fuck is the timeline here? It's so confusing.
Again, if we would have taken our time, maybe had a couple extra episodes and really spaced out that time, this would make a lot more sense.
I kid you not, I half expected to go into the whole Soren and Liera thing, and it turns out that Kessler's like 30 now.
Good God, dude. I was
preparing myself for him, like, oh God.
If we were not doing this podcast, I would just keep skipping over this shit. Like, it is so useless and doesn't do anything to the main plot that it is just, and it was, again, how can you keep fumbling the football on the 1 yard line? You had someone like Soren that we were interested in, that we would like to see more of, and the thought of him rejoining John is compelling, and being a Spartan again is compelling, but yet you continue to fucking fumble it because you have to do some stupid shit about his family that nobody cares about. Like,
now, for those of you playing along at home, here's a fun fact. In most everything that Jake and I do, he's supposed to be the positive voice, and I'm supposed to be the naysayer. So this is how you know it's bad.
I had a lot I wanted to say about this because I want to like this show. I want to like it, but it's just so bad. It's impossible.
So apparently after Chief and Kai talk it for a minute, he believes that blowing up the Halo is the way to go. He thinks that basically nobody should have it. So he gets his armor back, and as he's leaving, he ends up running into Perez. And then she tries to convince him to fight with them. And then he gives like this really weird, touching speech about how the Marines who die are the reason they win battles or something. It didn't really make sense because he got cut off. So his whole like metaphor or simile, I'm not really sure what it was, just didn't really make any goddamn sense. And then to back that whole nonsense up, Perez suggested that I guess he has some sort of like control over his destiny because whenever he flipped a coin, it wasn't luck. He always managed to make it come up heads. What? We didn't, who wrote that line?
We didn't, and again, I got to really point this out because you talked about storylines. We didn't need this to put a bow on that fucking thread that was a piece of dialogue. Like, what? And
it could have been a throwaway line. That's all it had to be.
We could have just left well enough alone when he flipped it to her and said heads, and it was a good moment. It was effective. Could have left it there. We didn't need this. Why are we doing this?
Yep.
It just doesn't.
Why are we doing this? AKA season 2 of Halo. So Chief ends up stealing a condor, and he makes his way to the Halo, and we finally get our first look at it from a distance. It's a thing, which leads me to my ultimate question, and I guess maybe I just don't know much about space travel in that particular area, but how did nobody fucking notice this? seeing him look at it, it seems like the most obvious fucking thing just sticking out in the middle of nowhere. What?
So, I have a question about how we're going to approach the rest of this episode.
Oh, well.
Because how much do we really want to focus on the fucking Soren family blues?
Oh, just let me handle
Quan and friends.
Let me handle that. All right, I got you. Remember, I'm the one who takes the notes.
I really don't want to talk about it. I just don't care.
So, we'll start with the more interesting one, which is Perrin Goski and Ackerman.
Oh, what is that? Okay.
So before Chief manages to run into Ackerman was talking with Perrin Goski, and at least subtly, Perrin Goski seems to be a little worried about Chief revealing the truth of Reach, talking about how it would be inconvenient for everyone to learn that he's alive. And then they find, I guess they're watching a Covenant fleet make entry somewhere, and I guess they're they reason that must be where their Halo is, so they send the first local fleet out there to attack them, and which includes some Spartan 3s, and you know what? They get their asses fucking just whooped hard, pwned, to borrow a phrase from gamer culture. They're just wiped out instantly. If you've ever seen the Family Guy Blue Moon special, and Dak goes on to fight the Empire alone, and they just fucking blast him. That's what it felt like. Just gone.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of leads to when Ackerman says he's like, I like the way they described it of she's just throwing Spartan 3s at them. She doesn't care. She just needs one to get in.
Well, no, she's detached from it. It's not like she's a warrior.
She's throwing all of them in. They're just chess pieces.
Yeah, they're faceless to her. So she orders a second wave to be sent in after they all get pwned. And through this, we kind of see that Ackerman's getting a little disillusioned with what they've been doing, and he urges Perrin Goski
a little fucking late. A little fucking late.
And he urges her to reconsider, but he's her bitch, so it doesn't matter. So he ends up leaving, and then he starts a simulation on what the spike would do when they actually plug it in. And again, we never thought about this before. Plot twist: it turns out it doesn't shut down a Covenant cruiser. It blows the whole fucking thing up. It vaporizes everything within 1 million miles.
Mm-hmm. It kills everything.
Yeah. So ultimately, Perrin Goski's plan is, if we can't have it, then nobody can. Which, kind of makes sense when you consider that training simulation where everyone's like, oh, they had it easy. No, they didn't. They were going to die.
Yeah, and that's a moment later where, Chief pretty much kind of, he does agree with Perrin Goski on this, of, that mentality of, it's shitty that they die, but that prevents the Covenant from getting the ring.
Yeah, it's all they can do at that point. It's very objective, if not a little detached. Now, Ackerman does come back a little later after his talk with Chief and Kai, And it turns out that Parangoski knew that Ackerman would figure out her plan because she's always like 30 steps ahead of
Because she's
everybody.
so smart. She's outsmarted the smartest man that ever smarted.
Yep, must be. So then Chief ends up stealing the Condor, and he announces himself over the comms. And Ackerman's like, "Yeah, well, he's alive, so now everyone's gonna know you fucking lied." And then they're going to know the truth of Reach, and they're going to know the truth of Onyx, and fuck you, and fuck your dog. And he gets taken away and gets locked up. So I guess he's like Team Master Chief now all of a sudden.
Who fucking knows, man? Whatever.
Like he was like this villain that you're like, okay, I can kind of respect what he's doing, even if he's a little unhinged. Oh no, quick heel turn. Not even a heel turn, just a turn.
Face turn.
Yeah, must be.
What's crazy about like the show can't fucking commit to any idea it has. Like, it just can't. It just can't. It's like it's afraid to commit to. No, I take that back. The only thing they commit to is keeping Chief out of the suit for whatever reason. But like,
it's the Robert Downey Jr. problem.
It is just. I get it. You have a star. You want to show their pretty face, but it's like, come on, man. You got to put the armor. Again, he was in the armor more in the first season than he was this season. Like it feels like.
Well, it turns out Pablo's not the star. The Master Chief is the star. So let's not get this bullshit confused. I mean, we could have AI generated armor, and I'm pretty sure people would like it more. Yeah. Not that I'm saying we should.
No, but I can't understand it. I'm really perplexed at like everything about it, because if you're Paramount, you invest this money in this IP that you know is popular. Wouldn't you want it to appeal to its fans, not just mainstream, but like, again, how many times do I have to say this? You have a built-in audience that would be interested in that. Not everybody that plays Halo would maybe watch the show, but you'd still get a good amount. If you know,
but even then, if you weren't trying to appeal to the gamer audience and you just wanted the every person to watch it, how dumb do you think they are? Like, this is bad. This is badly written.
This is like sci-fi level, like Sci-Fi Channel. Like,
it's just, God, it escapes all reason.
It's almost parody at times. I feel like it's just.
Oh man, if it suddenly turned into a porn parody, I'd finally understand.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yep. You know what? I finally get it. Why Master Cheeks?
Why?
Oh, well.
Okay, you know what? Okay, let me just put it this way. And yeah, this is kind of bad. This just shows you, or kind of bad. This is really bad if this is how much I hate something. Where I really can't stand it when a dumb show tries to be smart. And that's what this show does so much.
Okay,
just lean into being silly in an action movie a little bit. Just a little. Not all the way, but just a little bit.
Did you ever watch a movie called Hardcore Henry?
I fucking love that movie.
Because you know what it is? It's an unabashed, dumb as fuck action movie, but it knows what it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Commit. Just commit to something. And then
it didn't try to be smarter than what it is. It had like its weird little sci-fi angle, but you didn't have to like try to think about it. You're just like, whatever.
And you know what? Yes, Halo has the fucking the orchestra and like this epicness to it, and like this big broad thing, but it still has its moments where it's still fun and it leans into being like, it still has those big action set pieces that you'd see in blockbuster movies. Like,
actually, I think that's what's been lacking from the show is the fun. There is none.
There is no fun in this show.
It's just, it's a fucking downer in the worst possible way.
And like I said, you can be serious, but you don't have to take yourself fucking this seriously all the time.
Like, okay, here's the thing about the combat sequences. They're fun. They liven things up. And we have almost none.
Yeah. Yeah. How many times everybody that has hated this show has said the same thing. It looks great when it's like just the action. And
it's not a battle rifle hitting the ground.
Yeah, not a terrible CG. You have props, but it has to be a CG.
I'm never gonna forgive that one.
Why wouldn't you just throw the prop gun? What the fuck?
Speaking of unforgivable things, let's talk about Soren and
Oh,
Liera.
sweet baby. This is
See, I
again.
got just
So,
let me
hold up, time
drive.
out.
All right.
Well, we'll make one quick note. This is the second to last episode of the season, and we're gonna spend time here. Just that's all I'm saying.
Yep. Yep. For nothing. Yep. So Soren and Liera, they're in Thermopylae where we left them at the end of the last episode. And Soren takes this moment, of all moments, to tell her the story of his experience training to be a Spartan. And how in the end it was him and Chief and Riz and Vanek and Kai. They were the only 5 that were still standing and fighting. Because, heaven forbid we had anybody else. Like, okay, whatever. Liera figures out that his search for Halsey has actually just been nothing but him wanting to go back to being a Spartan, and starts on this fucking tirade about him having a child and a wife, because I'm sure that fact didn't elude him, because you're a nagging pain in the ass. Like, believe me, if he ever thought he had a wife, he did not forget it in the last 3 episodes. So he tries to tell her that they need to let Kessler go through this crucible to make him stronger because, frankly, he's been a little bitch. And if you need evidence of that, go check out episode 2. But Liera, being a mom, disagrees and angrily storms off. Women, what are you going to do? So Kessler and the other trainees, they make their entry into the arena. It's smoky. And before they're attacked, Soren comes in and just starts beating up on the fucking guards or the trainers or whatever you want to call them. Like, he fucking just savagely whoops their asses. And like in the middle of it, he tries to comfort Kessler, but I guess Kessler is scared of him now after
But his
seeing
dad's
this
been a
raw
pirate.
display of power. Again, I guess he just managed to separate the difference between dad and outlaw. He never saw those two things at the same time.
Yeah, because the rubble is such a big fucking. Okay.
Apparently. Yep, he's always seeing him as some sort of weird honorable diplomat.
Couple of things. I think this does a really good job, and I don't know if this is intentional, but I think this does a really good job tying with like the Spartan mythology. For me, it points out how stupid and fascistic the Spartans really were, but they're glorified because of how great of warriors they were. But like, the whole Spartan program, I'm like, how does this make it any better that you're like throwing him in these situations and having these beatdowns like the Spartans of old? Like, I just don't think it's a good idea, training program wise.
Sure. Well, they're trying to make them tough and try to make them leaders. I don't know. Okay,
but, okay. Back to the show on that. I just a little diversion.
No. Actually, so let me throw a hypothetical at you.
Okay,
What if instead, so that we could kind of explain the story between our 5 core Spartans, or now 2
now.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. What if instead of Liera and Kessler, instead we see Chief and Soren invade Onyx together, and they end up in Thermopylae, and we get a flashback from one of their points of view of that particular trial. What if they showed instead of told us about it? Wouldn't that have been more entertaining?
Or have that moment where they're fighting in that arena and cut it back and forth between that. That would be a good job of writing a show.
I guess we'll never know, though. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This all felt really, really pointless.
Well, my other thing with that was like, okay, so Soren just changes his mind. Like, what was the point of him saying, like, no, he needs to have this happen, and then just last minute the wife's yelling at me, so I got to jump in? Is that what we're, implying?
I think that must be it, that, like, he just got browbeaten, is now some sort of beta cuck. And obviously, I'm being facetious about it. I'm not actually saying that he's a beta cuck for taking his wife's feelings into consideration.
You know what? We should have written this, because I feel like we could have done a better job with this shit. So much better. I say that as a joke, because you know why? We're not professional writers, and we could sit here and make a better show than what this fucking team has put out. Because, like, what you described would be such a... You know what it would be? fun. It would be fun. That's what it would be.
It would be effective
Yes,
because you
and
could
you
actually
could,
see what they
and
went through.
we could have closure and talk about the relationship between John and Soren. Like, what the? That would make sense.
Yeah, but again, we get this pointless drivel. So yeah. And speaking of pointless, Quan, Halsey, and Miranda. Yep, it's here. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this one as fast as I can. So Halsey and Miranda are squabbling down in that fucking cave about who's smarter and how to open the door. And then Miranda, I guess for some reason, like took a breather and went, "Oh wait a minute, Dad's not here. What happened to my father? Oh hey, Halsey confirmed his death." Because Miranda's like, I don't know, maybe he got off. No, he's dead. He blowed up. He gone.
I
So
watched
hey,
it happen.
congrats on that. Maybe start with a card next time. I don't know. So Quan manages to Deus Ex Machina her way into something stupid, gets the door open, and they cross a light bridge over to a progenitor lab. There's a lot more going on there. It takes a lot longer, and I'm really sorry if you end up watching it. It sucks, but this is the quickest line on it. The place starts to fucking Indiana Jones itself to death, self-destruct, because I guess they touched something. But before they leave, Miranda manages to get some sort of Googa from a progenitor scientist corpse. I don't know what the fuck it is. And as they're crossing the bridge, Halsey gets a sight of like this city down under the bridge, a progenitor city. That's just like built into the area. And she's just like staring off into the distance as the light bridge is fucking catching up to them as it closes down. But Miranda manages to break her focus by calling her mom. Yeah, hey, emotional beat there.
Yeah.
Oh man, didn't feel forced at all. And then they just managed to jump far enough to not end up falling off of the light bridge.
Yeah.
Almost like it was paint by numbers.
And then, go ahead.
Yeah. So we fast forward a little later on the episode, and Miranda and Halsey are back in a lab looking at the Googa. But then Halsey hears over in the comms the report of an invader, and she just fucking pieces the fuck out. And Miranda manages to open the device.
Yeah.
And everything's all out of order here. You can fill in the blanks if you want. The episode ends with John seeing the halo.
You know what the most annoying thing for me out of that whole thing is
Quan Ha?
Yeah, because Miranda talks about how she spent like months down there, and then Quan Ha just fucking Deus Ex Machina is this thing. Like, cool.
Yeah, no.
What a pointless thing. What another pointless thing.
Yeah, she goes into like this, oh God, I hate to use it. It was almost like some sort of like autistic fugue about her time on the Rebel and seeing this particular star alignment, and then pulls a star out of a door and sets it. It's dumb as fuck. Holy shit. Like if you want to enjoy it, like just drive a rail through your temple, you might think it's engaging.
It's more this religious bullshit that it just doesn't work here.
It's just convenient.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's like the chosen one Messiah religious fucking angle that we have with Maki and we have with John. So now we gotta have to Quan for some stupid reason.
Because coin flipping. I don't know. I'm thinking if we get lucky, we're done with Quan at the end of this season. And that's the only hope I've got. Maybe she dies. We can only be so lucky. Maybe she gives herself up to activate some sort of progenitor thing, and we never have to hear about her again.
I just don't.
But anyways, the episode ends with Chief seeing the halo, and we fade to black, and I'm sure next week's gonna be like super emotional and super actiony,
bang bang explosions,
and really poorly fucking written because pacing isn't important apparently.
If we had spent, like we talked about, if we'd spent this whole season focusing on Reach and the battle for Reach, them losing Reach, but then losing that battle, but then winning the Halo, like that could have been something. But to have that here being only one episode, and then we're off, fucking off some until Alara, and then Onyx, and not giving that enough, like you said, the timing and the pacing is all off because this has all happened in like a week, a matter of days.
And again, we're jumping between like 7 different characters.
Yes, and we should have just focused on Silver Team and how they deal with the fact that Cobalt Team, maybe even, I don't know, do a scene with the fucking Cobalt Team so we can figure out how they died.
Well, but here's the thing, okay? These crazy little notions, okay? Just let me engage you in a hypothetical, and more of an overview of what we've done so far. So, if we go back and we eliminate all of the Halsey sequences, and we just let her be off on some other little adventure instead of being locked up by the UNSC, to come back in later in the series, you know, like she kind of does in the games, because she doesn't pop up till like 5?
4.
4? Yeah. So we can eliminate all of that. Keep the Ackerman stuff, but distill it. Like if we're gonna do the whole abandoning Reach thing, let's do that on like episode 2. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Even start the fight there. So we'll jump the fight ahead to episode 3. Then we do 3 through. Let's go 3 through 6 is the fall of Reach. You know, really drag it out, make it some compelling shit, hard battles, maybe spend 15 minutes exploring Vanek and what motivates him, his story. Because, again, other than the fact that he had a pig and he liked birds, I knew fuck all about him. Yeah, hey, that was a cute little story, and him having names for the birds was neat. But when he died, I didn't feel anything.
And honestly, it was a bullshit bait and switch, is what I think that was.
Oh yeah,
because they've been playing up that they're gonna kill Riz because of her injuries and all this other shit, and then oh no, it was Vanek. Cool.
Instead, you could have had like Riz sacrifice herself and go down, and then Vanek got injured, and now he ends up staying on Alaria because of, you know, he saw what Riz was going through, and he just can't do it anymore. I don't know, just hypotheticals. And again, we get to Onyx, and then we see that like flashback with the squad as teenagers fighting their way through Thermopylae. I mean, that would have been way more interesting and a better narrative construct because, again, show, don't tell.
Yeah. I just again can't understand how you can have such a good, well-recognized brand and lore and property and just completely do this to it. I just don't understand it. I mean,
again, I'll give credit. If you look at last week, which was a C plus, I think we had ended up on, with 5 being a C minus. So this one, I would say, is a very mediocre B minus. Like, we're only just going up. And I'm not saying up in like a positive direction.
B minus? I'm surprised.
Again, this is still better than the previous 2, no?
I mean, if we're going to go on that, sure, but...
Again, this is a very mediocre B minus.
I still give it a C.
But that would be lower than a C plus. That doesn't work.
I mean, to me at this point, being the second to last episode, you have to, at this point, have ended or will end a good amount of your storylines. And by that, I mean you should only have 2 or 3, and then the last episode should tie all of them together, what they're trying to do here, but it's just not effective.
It was aggressively average.
At least 5 and 6 were consistently boring. At least they had that going for them. There was some consistency.
This was boring as hell.
This episode had a little bit of excitement, and then nothing, and then a little bit, and then nothing.
I don't know. This one at least gave me a chuckle instead of a cringeworthy, why the fuck did you write that line?
Because for every 1 or 2 moment that I liked, there was a Quan Ha scene. There was
Jake, I think
the Soren and Lara scenes. You know what I mean?
Jake, I think that's just a statement on life. Any one thing you like, there's always a Quan Ha.
Yeah, but
You have a good day and then you stub your toe. That's a Quan Ha for you.
I guess. But I don't know. Okay, I will say it is better than last week's episode, but it's still bad. It's just
Yeah, I'm not saying a B minus is good. It's aggressively average. It's mediocre.
it's just boring.
It's yeah, and that's ultimately been the thrust of everything. Like so far, our best efforts have been A minus for number 4, but everything else has been like B plus. We've never really like had an aggressive like a good run. It's just been mediocre.
Yeah.
And again, maybe we get something as exciting as last season's closer, but also if you'll remember, holy fuck, the CG at the end of last season was fucking rough.
I think episode 4 and episode 8 is where they put a lot of their money. So I feel like this one will look pretty solid, but who knows?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to go see if they did a press release jerking themselves off over the attempt.
So here's the thing. There was a certain point where I was like, well, it's a mini series. We'll end the show. It's after the season. But I was like, if we're up for it, there's a couple other live action adaptations because there's Halo Nightfall and there's Halo Forward Unto Dawn, and I was like, maybe I'll watch those. But I've been beaten down to a point with this show where I'm like, if we ever do them, it'll be after we have a break, after this season, because
like
I don't want to touch any fucking Halo property right now. I'm just kind of over this shit.
Look, there's not a lot of things that I watch that I actively dread watching the next episode, but god damn it, Halo, you've done it.
And I'm at the point now where I think, regardless of how much I like this finale, it can't make up for all this stupid shit. Like it has to be like an incredible above their batting average of episodes. Like it's got to be the best thing they ever made, and this is not gonna happen.
I mean, okay, admittedly, their best is still not great, but I don't know. That's setting the bar pretty high.
Also, what's up with me and sports metaphors today? It's weird, but
I don't know. That's a you thing, not me.
I don't know. Yeah, man, I'm bummed. I'm bummed out. And again, I would love to go back and listen to those first like 3 episodes where we're like enthusiastic,
maybe after,
and then we get here, and we're like, fuck this.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to like do a retrospective after seeing everything independent of the season, or maybe we'll just do a retrospective at the end of next episode and save ourselves the effort.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's not something. It's I could probably throw something together like a little something, but I just and that was the thing. I was like, maybe my thought process was that this show wasn't gonna last forever. This was intended to be a miniseries, but I was like, again, if we're up for it, I want to do some other Halo properties because there's also an animated one too. And there's a couple other things. I was like, maybe we can, maybe not weekly, but, just a couple other ones to do.
Well, at least until the next season.
To be a completionist. And then now, like I said, I'm just like, it's going to be a couple weeks after the finale before I think about doing another property.
I had to talk you into recapping season 1.
It's just
it's a fucking drag.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Fallout, though. I've said that for 3 episodes in a row of this show. I'm looking forward to Fallout.
Yeah, there's that. I know people have feelings on the latest episode of Invincible.
I mean, that's a different show, but I have some thoughts on Invincible.
A lot of things are other shows.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been watching anime lately, actually.
That tells you how bad this show is, where I desperately want to finish the show talking about something else.
Honestly, I think that's just us like coming up with something positive to talk about.
Well,
and it's not this.
Hey, it can only go up, right? I think this finale is going to be fun.
Why? Why would you say that?
I'm knocking on wood. I'm praying. I'm hoping.
I mean, you're the one who came into this season with optimism.
Yeah, and that's how much this is beating me down because I was put my dang reputation on the line.
I was way more pragmatic about this. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, again, like they're gonna come out and they're gonna say the best, but I mean, you're tooting your horn about fucking episode 4? Jesus. Oh, that doesn't really say much for why I want to watch 1 through 3. Fuck, why don't I just skip it and go right to 4?
Well,
and what's more is it's not even like this is a show that like you can, you know, that we could have just binged and talked about. No. We have to wait week to week.
Yeah.
Like saps.
Be different again if it were all at once.
And like maybe, and I'll say in this extremely fine line, maybe it's better as a complete experience. I highly doubt it. But maybe in like it's a one and done thing, not weekly where you get the chance to actually stew on it. That's all I got.
Honestly, I feel like something like this would be, I mean, it would be kind of hard, but I think there would be a way to do it, of doing it as a movie. But I know that and
I don't know, we've at least offered up ideas amongst ourselves of competent ways to do it as a series.
Here's what we'll do. We'll do something kind of like that at the end of next week's episode.
How they could have not fucked this up?
Yeah, how they should have made this fucking show is what we. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I feel like there's a whole game you could have derived that from.
Crazy.
What a concept.
Well, we're gonna limp to the finale next week, episode 8. It's a Halo.
There's gonna be a lot of dead Spartans, quote unquote.
Fingers crossed.
I can't
it's
call
at
them
least
Spartans. That's
fingers crossed. At least the action is fun to watch, like the first couple episodes. So.
Oh no! Chief is just gonna get onto the fucking Halo and talk with McKee for 45 minutes.
He's gonna crash land, and his armor's gonna break, and he's gonna have to fight naked, and it's just gonna be Master Cheeks.
That's whole time.
Happen.
Like I think if we go into this expecting the worst, maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised. Kai.
Kai's gonna die, I bet.
I feel like that's inevitable, especially the way she's mother henning over her fucking 3s.
Kai's gonna die, and then Chief and Perez are gonna make it out. So then we're gonna set up season 3 of them kind of being like partners or something. Like he's gonna put her on his new silver team or whatever the fuck.
Oh God.
And you know it's gonna happen. I'm guaranteeing it.
Like, oh God, and if we got lucky, Liera and Kessler died, and then Soren would just be free to do whatever he wanted. Is it dark? Yes, but you know what? It fixes a problem.
Well, here's what happens. Halsey and Miranda are not on this ship, but a ship with Kessler, Liara, and Quan gets blown up. There you go. Problem solved.
They crash land into McKee and they all die.
There we go.
Boom.
That's what you know. What? Fuck it. Make Quan Ha the hero you want her to be, and have her, fucking
and then
suicide dive into the ship and blow it up. Fuck it.
Yeah, and then we can build a statue of her, and we'll move on.
We can kill all the annoying characters in one swoop, and start over fresh in season 3. And you know what? That's too good of an idea. It won't happen.
And then for some reason, we finally remember that Cortana's supposed to be in Chief's helmet.
Oh, where the fuck has Cortana been this whole season? Jeez Louise.
Chilling with McKee, apparently.
Arguably the biggest, it's his, God, his partner. His literal partner throughout the whole series.
Hey, she cost money to animate.
Just put her in his head like they did in the first. Oh, my goodness. I hate it. I hate it so much.
And remember, folks, at the end of the game, the king and the pawn go back into the same box.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.